You ever wish you could just hit a rewind button on a conversation? Maybe by just 10 seconds. That one moment where you let an impulse take over instead of actually choosing what you wanted to say. Well, today we are breaking down how to win that exact internal battle. And this isn't just about feeling better. It's about fundamentally changing the outcomes in your life. Let's dive in.
Oh yeah, we've all been there, right? Your emotions just grab the steering wheel and something comes out of your mouth that you instantly wish you could snatch back out of the air. That little flash of anger, that knee-jerk comment, that's the impulsive reaction we're going to tackle today. So what is actually going on inside our heads in those moments? It's pretty fascinating, actually. It's like this constant tug of war between two very different parts of our brain. Let's break down what that battle looks like.
Okay, this slide just lays it out perfectly. You've got two paths your brain can go down. On one side, you have the reaction. That's pure survival instinct, you know? It's run by your amygdala. It's fast, it's emotional, and yeah, it's often the fast track to regret. But on the other side, you have the response. That's thoughtful, it's mindful, it engages your logical brain. And guess what? That is where you get better outcomes pretty much every single time.
You know, this idea is inspired by a really famous moment with the superstar Shah Rukh Khan. A reporter basically tried to bait him to get a rise out of him, but instead of snapping back, he paused. He just took a breath, really considered the question, and then delivered this calm, thoughtful answer that completely diffused the whole situation. That is the power of choosing to respond instead of just reacting. So if responding is obviously so much better for us, why is reacting so often our default setting? I mean, why is it so easy to snap? Well, the answer is hardwired into our brains for survival. Let's get into the science of it. It's a phenomenon called an amygdala hijack. Here's how it works. When your brain senses a threat, and here's the crazy part, it can't tell the difference between a saber-toothed tiger and a stressful email from your boss, your amygdala smashes the panic button. It literally hijacks your brain, bypasses all the logical parts, and launches you straight into that fight-or-flight reaction. And what pulls the trigger on this hijack? Oh, it can be almost anything. Big emotions like anger or stress are obvious ones, but so are our own thought patterns, jumping to conclusions because of something that happened in the past. And then there are the physical triggers. You've heard of being hangry, right? It is a real thing. Not getting enough sleep or being hungry can make you way more likely to react impulsively.
All right, now for the good stuff. How do we actually stop the hijack and take back the controls? We're going to walk through a super simple, really easy to remember, and incredibly effective 5-step tool. It's called the Peace Method.
The whole framework is right there in the name. Peace. Pause, evaluate, avoid, choose, and explore. This whole method is designed to create that crucial bit of space between the trigger and your response. So let's look at each step a little closer. First up, and honestly, this is the most important one. Pause. Just stop. This is your circuit breaker. The second you feel that flash of emotion, just pause. Take one deep breath. That tiny little moment is often all it takes to stop the amygdala from completely taking over and gives your logical brain a chance to get back online.
Okay, so in that pause, you evaluate. You got to ask yourself, what is the real reason I'm getting upset here? Is it really what this person just said? Or is it maybe because I'm totally stressed from work or I didn't sleep well last night? Just identifying your true trigger gives you so much power over it. Next up, A is for avoid raising your tone. Your voice is such a powerful tool. A raised voice signals aggression, right? It immediately puts the other person on the defensive and the whole conflict just escalates. But a calm, steady tone, that invites conversation. It invites listening. It completely changes the dynamic of the interaction.
Then we have C. Choose your words. This one is huge. Look at the difference here. You statements are basically accusations. You always or you never. They just put up a wall. But if you reframe it with an I statement, you're just expressing how you feel without assigning blame. I feel frustrated when invites empathy. It doesn't invite an argument. And finally, our second E, explore perspectives. This is where you step back and look at the bigger picture. Try for a second to understand where the other person might be coming from. And then ask yourself the ultimate question. Is this going to matter in a week? A year? 5 years? It's amazing how this question can shrink a problem right down to its actual size. Okay, so now you have the Peace Method. But let's be real, knowledge is pretty useless if you don't put it into practice. So to make this a real, lasting habit, we're going to wrap up with a simple challenge to turn this knowledge into an instinct. We are not talking about months and months of practice. All it takes is 7 days. Just 1 week of conscious effort can start to rewire those neural pathways for a more thoughtful, intentional, and, well, peaceful way of being.
Here's the plan. It's so simple. For the next 7 days, just do this. Once a day, find 1 moment to deliberately pause before you speak. Just once. Then try to observe and name 1 thing that triggered an emotional reaction in you that day. And finally, before you go to sleep, take 60 seconds to reflect on how you handled it. That's it. You can totally do that.
And why does this all matter so much? Because mastering your responses, it goes so far beyond just avoiding a few arguments. It's the key to stronger relationships, to better leadership at work, to a deeper emotional intelligence. I mean, ultimately, this practice leads to a more controlled and truly more meaningful life.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. As you go about your week, just consider this. What is 1 interaction, 1 conversation, or 1 relationship that could be completely transformed if you consciously choose to respond, instead of just reacting? The power, as we've seen, is all in that pause.